When Justin Timberlake was acting, those were good times.
I'm dry humping the shit out of you. Just stop talking. I'm close. God.
Those were good times. Justin, please come back to acting. We need you.
We discovered this new Ethiopian restaurant.
They finally got their own cuisine. Progress.
We need you. Yo, what's up everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Film Archives, where we break down movies. And today we're going to be breaking down the movie In Time, starring Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried. I did take a little break from YouTube last week, but I'm back and I'll be uploading new videos every week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content if that's your bag. But with that out of the way, let's just get into the movie. Movie starts off, we get Justin Timberlake. He plays a man named Will Salas. He's looking extra shredded, you know what I mean? And he has a little monologue. He's basically saying he doesn't have the time. He has no time. But in the future, I guess the humans are now genetically engineered to stop aging at 25. And they have 1 year to live. And basically time is a currency. You know, you earn it, you spend it. And there's that, you know. But if you're rich, pretty much have limitless possibilities and you basically live forever. Pretty crazy. But you know, Justin Timberlake basically says he just wants to wake up with more time than there are hours in the day. It's a pretty cool future vibe, you know. Time is money, money is time. All the time that they have is displayed on their arm, sort of like a clock. And Will's currently living with his mom, who's dying. So, well, I don't know if she's not dying, but she's running out of time. You know, she's like in her 50s, but she still looks 25. Crazy. But he's working overtime at the factory, you know, to try to give her time so that way, you know, she doesn't die. Because if you run out of time, you time out in this movie. And time out's not a good thing, you know? I mean, we learned that when we were young. Time out is just a big freaking no-no, you know what I mean?
Are you in timeout?
It's not fair.
So basically, you can give people time or you can take it away. Kind of similar to when you just run it down in League of Legends. You know, you just steal your teammates' time, the opponent's time. You basically take time away from 9 people all at one time. You just run it down, bro. Just run it down the lane, you know?
30 seconds until minions spawn.
These guys think I care.
First.
They're in debt, so Will is, you know, working overtime to help his mom survive. Will says goodbye to his mom because, you know, they're leaving for the day, and his mom has to go pay some bills and, like, repay a loan and, you know, basically give a lot of time away. But she says, you know, she's going to take the bus and she'll meet him later that night after he gets off work. And we get some cool imagery of the futuristic world, like the 99-second store, etc. You know what I mean? But JT's on his way to work. He works at a factory, you know, and he's runs into his friend Burrell, and this guy is played by the dude from The Big Bang Theory. It's pretty funny, actually. But, you know, they grab a coffee on their way to work, and the coffee costs 4 minutes. Very similar to real life. You know, if you ever go to Starbucks, you're definitely spending at least 4 minutes there. At least. Probably like $10. And also 10 minutes or so. So it's like, is it worth it? 4 minutes isn't so bad, you know what I mean? But anyway, JT goes to work. He does his thing at work. He's in the factory, you know, and they pay him in time. And I guess they short him because he didn't hit his quota, so he didn't get his full time check, you know. Pretty shitty stuff. And on his way home, he stops at like a really seedy bar and he meets his friend Burrell from earlier, you know, the Big Bang Theory dude. And he is just drunk, you know. I guess there's a man in there who's just been buying drinks for everybody. And he's got like a whole century of time, like just to piss away. So he's just been buying everybody shots all night. He's like such a baller dude. He's got 116 years, 39 days, 4 hours, and 5 seconds of time. So can you imagine? You had all that time to live. Can you imagine? Pretty crazy stuff. It's insane, bro. There's some people kind of like eyeballing him, giving him dirty looks. You know, they're probably going to rob him because there are people in this world called Minutemen, and they basically just steal your time and or kill you, or both, you know. Mostly they take all of your time and then you die. So it's kind of like just really bad all around. Will kind of warns this rich guy. He's like, hey man, you shouldn't be flashing all that time around here. They're going to take all your money. They're going to clean your clock. And that means not just rob you, they're going to kill you. And he's like, yeah, sure, it's fine. He's also very drunk, so we're not sure if he's just like tipsy or he just truly doesn't give a fuck. Kind of like a Cho'Gath player.
I'm a problem. I
am currently I'm a problem.
Yeah, so then the Minutemen show up, and they're like kind of a weird mix of like these 50s jazz looking motherfuckers. Like they got fedoras, you know, they're fedora wearing head asses, you know, it's insane. But yeah, they basically pull a gun on the rich guy, and everybody just gets up from the bar and dips, dude. It's crazy. However, Will stays behind and kind of watches the events unfold from the back. The gangsters introduce himself. You know, the head honcho's name's Fortis. He's a pretty cool Fortnite player. He tells the rich guy he's got a nice watch and he's going to try it on. Basically, he's going to steal all 116 years from him and leave him for dead, you know. Pretty hardcore Bompton stuff.
This Bompton.
He says that he's pretty old, so he'll fight him for it. You know, he's 75, but, you know, he's looking 19, so he just tells everybody he's 19s and shit. Anyway, he sets the gun down, which I thought was weird, but I guess you can't take the time from people if you kill them beforehand, so there's that. Yeah, Sentry Man is like, I need a minute if we're gonna fight, and, you know, he goes to the bathroom and he throws up. It's insane. I mean, he has been getting drunk all night after all, right? The fedora-wearing head-ass guy, you know, part of the Minutemen, follows him to the bathroom, and he's like, yeah, okay, well, enough messing around. It's time to go. And little did we know, Will was hiding in the stall the whole time. So he just freaking opens the door, slams it right at the guy's face, and, you know, he saves the guy from the Minutemen. So they dip out and, you know, run away from all the mobsters and the fedoras, and, you know, they chase him down. And they wind up hiding in a nearby, like, storage container and, like, an abandoned factory all night. While they're waiting, the super rich guy, he introduces himself. His name is Henry Hamilton, and he's, you know, like, why did you do that? And Will's like, you know what, everybody needs help from time to time. And, you know, Henry's like, looks like you could use some help yourself, noting that Will only has 18 hours left to live on his clock. It's pretty crazy. But he says he can tell Henry he's not from here, and he's from the nice, you know, like, super nice area called New Greenwich. And he shouldn't be down here in the ghetto of Dayton. It's like Dayton, Ohio. Like, it's crazy. Is it ghetto in Dayton, Ohio? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Actually, I'm so curious.
That's all that matters, really, right?
Yes. No lives lost.
But anyway, Will basically tells him, we'll hide out here and I'll keep you safe and sound until the morning. Henry asks, you know, how old are you, Will, in real time? You know, and Will is actually 28, but no one can tell because he just looks 25. And I guess Henry is 105. He's been alive so long that he's just kind of done, you know. He's like seen a lot of people leave and die, and he basically explains that, you know, your body can keep going, but your mind and your soul eventually just want to rest. And ain't that the truth, brother? He explains that basically all the people in New Greenwich where he lives are basically constantly increasing the prices and the cost of living to keep the poor poor and, you know, keep the rich rich. So, you know, it's pretty insane. That's why they have everybody divided into like different time zones is what they call them, but they're basically different little ghettos, and it's pretty sad. And he, you know, is basically like, this is how some people have very little time and, you know, very little minutes, and they live day to day, paycheck to paycheck, and other people never have to worry about a thing. Very clearly a metaphor for like the poverty and stuff like that, which is really, it hits pretty hard, you know. We're looking at you, big oil. We're looking at you, Elon. Anyway, Henry says that the truth is there's enough money for everyone to be millionaires. We don't have to, you know, just barely get by. Like, everybody could, you know, basically be pretty well off and comfortable, and, you know, there's enough to go around for everyone. So maybe we should stop laying people off for fucking AI kind of shit, you know. It's insane. Henry then asks Will what he would do if he had all the time that Henry did, and he goes, you know what, I wouldn't watch it, and I sure as hell wouldn't waste 1 second of that time. Honestly, so far this movie is a fire banger, dude, like a sleeper blockbuster, if you will, you know. So they fall asleep waiting it out, you know, because the mobsters are outside looking for him. And while Will is asleep, Henry actually transfers all of his time to him willingly. You know, he leaves himself with 5 minutes on his own clock and gives Will like the entire 116 years of time, and just kind of walks away from him. And you know, there's that. So then Will wakes up and he sees that Henry has gone off into the nearby distance and is just kind of watching the sunrise for the final time. And he tries to run over there to give him back the time, but right before he gets there, the guy times out and he dies. It's really sad stuff. But there's also like Big Brother cameras, like they're big ass cameras, and they're watching pretty much all of this play out. So someone's not gonna like this. But yeah, Henry Hamilton falls into like the LA River and he dies, and Will takes off. So then Will goes to see Burrell and, his wife and all that, his best friend from earlier, Big Bang Theory guy. And we see that they just had a new baby, but they're born with 1 year of time. They just don't actually start until they turn 25. But they're so poor, they're like, we wish we had that year now. It's fucking insane, dude. It's insane. But Will gives his homie Burrell like 10 years because that's the entire time they've known each other. And he's like, you know what? I'm leaving with my mom finally for New Greenwich. And I'm going to go meet my mom who, went to go pay these loans and stuff. So I'm out of here. While all this is happening, Will's mom has paid the bills and she's taking the bus, but they just raised the bus prices. So she doesn't have enough time because it costs 2 hours and she's only got an hour and a half left. So the bus driver is like, well, you're shit out of luck. You better run. And, she kind of looks at the people on the bus. Maybe someone will help her. It ain't happening. Everybody just ignores her. It's fucking brutal shit, dude. Brutal shit. It's insane. So she starts running, trying to make it back to Will in time so that maybe he can lend her a few minutes or whatever so she doesn't pass away and time out. And it's really sad. As she's running, people look at her like she's a murderer, like they just ignore her, like she's some sort of unhoused criminal. It's really sad stuff. But, she's dipping and she's running and she sees Will in the distance and they see each other and they run towards each other. But like seconds before that Will can reach her, she times out and she dies right in his arms. It's super sad stuff, honestly. It will make you cry. It will make you cry, I promise you. We then see what they call the timekeepers. They're basically the police. Like, they are in charge of all the time. And they find Henry's body in the LA River, and they're like, well, dude, this guy had 116 years, so how did he die, Like, who took all his time? He's out here in the ghetto. Someone must have murdered him. And on the Big Brother camera, they see that, the last person to see him alive was Will Salas, so it's not looking good for him. The main timekeeper is played by Cillian Murphy, and his name is Raymond Leon, and he's been doing it a long time, so he's like, shit, fuck this, I don't even really need to, we're going to go track down the time. We're not even going to look for Will. We're just going to follow where the time goes. And at this point, Will has had enough. So he's like, I'm going to New Greenwich and I'm going to take him for everything they've got. Like he's just going to go down there and he's a pretty good poker player. So he's going to go gamble and win a lot of money and, kind of stick it to the man that way, I guess. Anyway, kind of that part was kind of stupid, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, he crosses like multiple borders where they have everybody like in segregation, very old school. It's very sad because as you pass these borders you have to pay like an increasing amount of time, so like it's a couple months at first, then a couple more months, and then finally when you get to New Greenwich it's like a year just to get into the city. So it's like, bro, you literally have to work so much just to get in there, but at the same time the timekeepers, Cillian Murphy, Raymond Leon, he's following all the time, and as he's going through the checkpoints he sees that someone's paying all this money, and it's pretty suspicious, so they're onto him. It's really bad stuff. But Will basically goes there and he makes his way to a casino. He has to spend another year just to get inside the casino. It's insane. So that's just how rich and baller New Greenwich is. But, it is what it is. He sits at the table and he begins to play poker. It's funny because he plays poker with this guy who looks like Elon Musk. It's like an Elon looking motherfucker. It's insane. But, and they gamble. Pretty high stakes shit. It's insane. This Elon Musk looking motherfucker, his name is Philippe Weiss. He's like a big banker out there. Like he's in charge of all the time. And like, he's like a loan shark sort of guy, but he's basically like the biggest bank. Actually, I think he's the only time bank. So he's, like in charge of quite a bit of money and time and all that. He's worth a lot. But, we see that Philippe Weiss has like 9,860 years, and, it's really crazy. But he bets Will 100 years, which is basically all of the time that Will has left. And Will Salas, Justin Timberlake, he's like, sure, I'll match you, bro. Let's do this shit. And like right as his time's about to time out, he beats him. Super sick with it. Philippe Weiss introduces Will Salas to his daughter, Sylvia Weiss, who is played by Amanda Seyfried. And then, he invites Will back to his mansion later that night to play more poker. So Will Salas, Justin Timberlake, he arrives at Philippe Weiss's mansion and he sees Sylvia there. So, he starts flirting with her and romancing her. And he takes her out to the ocean and they have a little swimming moment. It's pretty good. And, he's like whispering sweet nothings to her. And let me just say, bro, like JT's voice, it's like the voice of an angel or maybe the voice of God. Like, can we get a sample real quick?
So if I get jealous.
Yeah, he basically romances her, super classy stuff, Out of nowhere, Raymond Leon, Cillian Murphy shows up at the mansion and he's like, you know what? We're here to apprehend Will because he's a total savage who stole all the money from Henry Hamilton. Will's like, nah, Henry Hamilton gave me this money as a gift, but, Raymond, of course, isn't buying it. He's like, Henry was worth thousands of years. There's no way he would just give you freaking 100 years of free time. Then he takes away all the time from Will. He just takes it away and leaves him with 2 hours. And, he's like, this is enough time to process you and take you into custody. And Will's pissed at this point, man. He's fucking pissed. And at that point, Will just goes fucking hammer bammer. He kidnaps Sylvia, starts smashing people in the face, and he basically holds her captive and dips out. He uses her as a hostage. You're going to get a pretty cool car chase. It's pretty sick. And then Will pulls a classic GTA move, and he just goes underneath the freeway overpass. And he just chills there. Once you're underneath the freeway, all the stars disappear. It's mandatory. Then he makes his way back to the ghetto, where the Minutemen have a trap waiting for him, the mobsters from earlier. I don't know how they saw him coming, but they knew he was coming. So they spike his tires and they cause like a super gnarly crash. But yeah, they go over there and they steal all of Sylvia's like 10 years that she had, and they steal a lot of Will's time. And then, the timekeepers show up. So they have to leave, and they leave them with like 30 minutes left on their clock. It's crazy. So they're walking through the ghetto. They see that Sylvia's dad, Philippe Weiss, is like all over the billboards because he's like the main bank, where everyone borrows time and stuff from. So he's like very wealthy and well off. So then Will calls her dad and is basically trying to ransom her for 1,000 years. Raymond, Cillian Murphy, the timekeeper, he's there and he's like, there's no way you're going to be able to live to spend this time. So what are you going to really do with it? And he's like, you know what? I want you to wire it to the mission, like the church down here in the ghetto of Dayton, Ohio, represent. And they say, we'll give you 1 day to do it and, distribute it to the charity down here. Raymond Leon, Cillian Murphy's character, he basically tells Will Salas, Justin Timberlake, that he's making the same mistake his father made and he's going to die just like him. And this pisses Will off because he's like, what do you mean? My dad died fighting another guy for his time. And Cillian Murphy, Raymond, he's like, no, that's not true. He actually gave his time to the poor, and that's why he died, because he was upsetting, the balance of power. And, he's just like a real hero, so we had to kill him off. So at this point, we now realize that Will is either going to become the hero or he's going to live long enough to become the villain. So we're going to find out. You
either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Oh, good for you!
So then, we see Will and Sylvia go back to Will's apartment where he was living in the beginning, and we learn a little bit about Will's past. His mom's dead, his dad's dead, his dog is dead, his sister is dead, so it's just Will Salas now. And Sylvia feels real bad for him, so she's kind of like forgiving him for like taking her hostage. It's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome, honestly. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, they flirt and they wind up kissing, and Sylvia puts on some new clothes, so she winds up wearing like Will's dead mom's dress. It's pretty romantic stuff, actually. Can you imagine like your new girlfriend wearing your dead mother's clothes? Like, it's so romantic, bro. So we find that Sylvia's dad didn't pay the ransom, and they're on the phone with him, and surprise, surprise, he did not pay the 1,000 years and distribute it to the poor peoples in Dayton, Ohio, represent. But at the same time, Raymond Leon, Cillian Murphy, has tracked them both down, and he's approaching them with his gun drawn. And Sylvia sees this, and she's gotten some attraction now towards Will, so she pulls out a gun and just blasts the timekeeper and basically shoots him. So Will goes over there and, gives him some of his time so that way he can make it out of the ghetto okay, because, Will's a good guy. He's not trying to kill anybody, but they do steal his badass cop car, so they're driving around in a sick-ass Camaro. Using the cop car, they pull over one of the rideshare guys who have, like, really nice cars, and they steal, like, from all the money from one of the rich passengers that they're driving to New Greenwich. Raymond, who has now escaped the ghetto, goes back to see Philippe, and we see him on the phone talking about, if he doesn't fix this problem, that, the time's gonna freaking inflate the wrong zones, and, the ghetto is gonna basically be like a rich area, and we're not gonna be able to charge them whatever we want anymore because they're gonna be able to afford it, and it's basically pointless. But Raymond shows up, and he's like, hey, you know what? I'm not having any of this because your daughter shot at me, and she's, like, actually robbing you as well. Like, she's totally a part of his criminal activity now. They've both become criminal scum.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
We need to arrest her, and I'm just letting you know that when I find her, I'm going to arrest her. And, Philippe, the rich banker, he's like, nah, I'll pay you off. How much do you want? Just let my daughter go. And he's like, I don't care about that. I want justice, asshole. That bitch shot me. You know what I mean? It's fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts. We then see Sylvia and Will crash into the bank, and they rob, like, the safe, and they take a shitload of money because, they're like, screw this, we're going to basically just rob my father, and it's pretty good stuff. And then he goes to the church and gives the rest of the time to the pastor there, who's, like, running, like, a charity type situation. He basically has, like, a free time bank, like, kind of like a homeless shelter, if you will. But the jazz heads, the Minutemen, the fedora-wearing head-asses, are also searching for Will and Sylvia. So they hold, like, a bunch of the citizens and, like, the city folk hostage, and are like, well, you guys have a bunch of random time, so if you don't tell us which way they went and information on, Will and Sylvia, we're going to just basically take all your time and kill every single one of you. So they do so. They kill one guy here, and then, one guy's like, all right, I saw a couple people go to the hotel, and they, booked every single room. It might be those guys. And, sure enough, the fedora-wearing head-ass shows up, and, he crashes the party, and he attacks Will, and he attacks Sylvia. They attack Syl and Will. It's not good. Main head honcho guy, Fortis, he challenges Will to a fight. They have, like, a pretty sick time fight, like, where you put your arm on top of one of the other person's arms, and then you flip it, and, you do, like, a time fight, like this way you take the money, this is how you give the money. So you take the time, you give the time. It's pretty sick, but Will's so badass, he just, like, lets him take all his time until, like, he has, like, very few seconds left, and then Fortis starts looking at his own clock, so he, like, stops paying attention to Will, and he does, like, a quick flip over, at the last second. And while he does that, he pulls out this little tiny, like, snub-nosed revolver from his shoe and fucking shoots the guy next to him that's holding him down, like, both of them just blah, blah. It's fucking sick as hell. I'm not even gonna lie. This scene was badass. One of the most badass scenes you'll ever see in a movie. Like, I'll challenge you in the comments below to let me know a cooler scene in a more badass movie. So they escape, and Will and Syl are like, you know what? We're not changing anything. We need, like, big money to actually, like, upset the system, and, overthrow the government type of thing. So they need the big money, they need the big money. So then Sylvia's like, you know what? We're going to go directly after my father, and we're going to break into his safe. Yeah, so then we get this pretty badass scene where Sylvia, Amanda Seyfried, she walks right up to her dad and is like, wow, I've returned, and I see you've hired more guards than the last time I've seen you. And Philippe, her father's like, yeah, of course I had to hire more guards because of what you've been doing, robbing all of my banks everywhere and giving away my money. My money. Money. And it's pretty good, but she's like, I see you've hired one extra guard. And turns out freaking Will Salas, Justin Timberlake, has already freaking Assassin's Creeded his way in there and is freaking hitman disguise and is one of the guards. So he freaking grabs Philippe, holds him hostage, puts a gun to his head, and is basically like, all 20 of you guards better drop your guns. And Philippe is like so scared, he's about to shit his pants. So he's like, everybody listen to him, drop your guns. And they force their way inside to his bank, and they go inside his actual, like, safe, and in there we see that he's actually super rich, and he has 1 million years of time just in a safe. It's fucking crazy, actually. Like, can you imagine living for 1 million years? Like, what the fuck, dude? They steal the big money, you know? They're like, all right, well, we got the big money. Let's get the hell out of here. And they're in New Greenwich, so, you know, they have to make like a big daring escape. So they dip out, you know, they have their same cop car from earlier. They start hauling ass out of the district because, you know, they're trying to go back to Dayton, Ohio represent. But they're trying to go back and, you know, distribute the million years, the big money. They're trying to give it to the poor people and, you know, upset the balance of power and, you know, upset the supply and demand, because a million years will go a long way for a lot of people, you know, especially in the ghetto like that. It's pretty crazy. They get back to the ghetto of Dayton, and they immediately give the million years, the big money, away to the charity. And freaking, of course, you know, people start going crazy because there's a million years for free just in circulation. So in the ensuing chaos, Will and Sylvia begin to run, and Raymond, the timekeeper, you know, Cillian Murphy, he's been chasing them ever since they took the money from Philippe's bank back in New Greenwich. And, you know, he's just not giving up. It's freaking really tenacious shit. But they start running, and Raymond's running after them. And Raymond, Cillian Murphy, finally catches up with Will, and he's like, you sure can run. You're from the ghetto. That's what people do out here. And he goes, yeah, I noticed you can run pretty good too. You're from the ghetto too, aren't you? And Raymond's like, yeah, a long time ago, but not anymore. I figured out how to escape, and, you know, I became a cop, so now I just keep the time. It's what I do. Will and Sylvia are down to their like last 45 seconds, and it turns out that Raymond, he was also down to like his last 10 seconds. You know, for a timekeeper, he didn't really keep track of his time very well. So he actually dies like right there as they're having like their final confrontation. So, you know, Will and Sylvia got lucky and are able to escape. So they then see Raymond, Cillian Murphy's car, just sitting there. So they make a run for it, and, you know, they go over the radio and they ask for his salary to be wired to them. And they don't question this, of course. I don't know, it's fine. Dispatch wires the salary that was meant for Raymond, who is now dead, to Will. So they luckily survive, and they got another Camaro, which is pretty damn cool. We then see on the news that the ghettos have actually begun to collapse because there's so much stolen time in circulation that people have begun to just leave and go to New Greenwich and, you know, go to the nicer, like, more expensive areas to live, you know, with a better quality of life. It's pretty beautiful moment, you know. Basically all like the time zones and, you know, the different ghettos that they have people segregated into are like no more. They literally broke the system, like Will and Sylvia, just by stealing that million years, you know. The final scene, we see Will and Sylvia still robbing banks, and Sylvia's like, I told you there were bigger banks, and sure enough, this bank's huge. It looks like the White House, and they're gonna go steal the big money, and they're gonna give it out to the people. You know, it's kind of like a Robin Hood vibe, and that's the end of the movie, actually. It just, you know, we get the credits. Was this movie worth watching? 100%, yeah. This movie was like a sleeper. There were some inconsistencies for sure, but you overlook them pretty easily just because the overall plot is like so enjoyable, and it's pretty, I don't know, it hits pretty close to home, you know what I mean? Because time is money, money is time type thing, and everybody can relate to that, whether you have a lot of money or a little bit of money. It doesn't really matter, like, you're going to relate to it. So yeah, I'd recommend watching it like at least once, especially if you haven't seen it. All right, guys, if you made it this far, remember to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and I've been getting some copyright strikes lately, so help your boy defeat the YouTube algorithm. We can do it together. We can bring Justin Timberlake back to acting, guys. And make sure to comment down below what movie you would like to see me break down next. But until the next video, peace!
I just want to wake up with more hours than there are in the day. I just need a little more time.